sa darating na SEA Games sa Vietnam sa November, si PSC Commissioner Ramon Fernandez. Welcome back, Commissioner Mon. No? Makakasama din natin ngayong umaga ang kilalang sports patron. Matagal nang taga-suporta siya sa mga iba't ibang sports, no? Lalo na sa cycling. Of course, gusto nating i-welcome uli for the second time also na si Mr. Jeremy Go ng Go for Gold. Kasama niya ang magiting na cycling team captain ng Go for Gold, si Ronnel Hualda. At nakakasama din natin ngayong umaga, no? For the first time, ang presidente ng Philippine Tournament Bridge Association, Mr. Winston Arpon. Good morning, gentlemen. Commissioner Mon, welcome back po sa TAPS.
Thank you for having me again, Ed, and to everybody, magandang umaga sa inyo lahat.
Thank you, Commissioner. No? Madami kaming itatanong sa iyo mamaya, no? Sir Jeremy, welcome back po uli sa TAPS.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you sa TAPS, and thank you for having us and inviting us again to your conference.
Thank you, Sir Jeremy. Ronnel, your opening remarks, please.
Una-una, good morning sa lahat at salamat sa pag-invite sa amin dito. Yun lang.
Thank you, Ronnel. Si Sir Winston naman po. Sir Winston, welcome po sa TAPS.
Yeah, I thank you for having me. Medyo for the first time, I was surprised that you included me because the Philippine Tournament Bridge Association was only a associate member of POC until last year. I'm ready to participate, whatever. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Winston. Ernest, siguro ako na unang magtatanong, no? Bago yung mga kasama natin. Gusto ko lang tanongin si Commissioner Ramon Fernandez. Commissioner Mon,
Yes.
Welcome again dito sa Usapang Sports, no? The other day na-announce yung appointment mo as the chef de mission ng darating na para sa Philippine team sa darating na SEA Games, no? And we all know na hindi madali itong bagong tungkulin na naiatang sa iyo. Ano ba ang maaasahan namin sa Team Philippines sa darating na SEA Games? Especially, ito yung unang SEA Games na kung saan ay galing tayo sa championship sa Manila noong 2019. What are your thoughts para sa SEA Games po?
Yes, thank you, Ed. First of all, I'd like to thank, I don't know if I'd like to thank them for this appointment, but I'd like to thank President Bambol Tolentino and the Executive Board of the POC for the confidence and trust by giving me this appointment. No? It's going to be a challenging mission, considering that champion tayo the last time. But I've learned a lot from Chairman Butch Ramirez in the last SEA Games when he was the chef de mission. We were assisting him also. The four of us commissioners were his sort of deputy also. This is doubly made challenging considering we are in a pandemic right now. No, it's still touch and go at this moment because I really feel that without the vaccine, it's pretty hard to prepare our athletes the normal way of preparing them for such a big international competition. But we will do our best. I'm pretty sure the POC and the other NSAs, together with the PSC, PAGCOR, of course, and our friends in Congress, both the House and the Senate, are very supportive of our sports programs. No, so you know, this is where really teamwork is again needed, as we have shown. We've shown in 2019 that we can really do it, no? Hindi lang because nasa home court natin, no? I really believe na yung preparation, the budget and the preparation for the athletes is the key to this. No, this is about the athletes. Games like this are all about the athletes, no? It's not about the officials who's running them, no? So if we come together and support our athletes, I think we will also give good performance in the coming SEA Games. No?
Commissioner, we all know na pagka talagang napag-uusapan tong SEA Games, ang unang nasa isip is kung ma-depend natin yung overall championship sa Vietnam, no? Considering na hindi na tayo ang host, and noong mga previous times na may mga na-invite sa amin na mga NSA heads, isa sa mga concerns nila is maraming events na kung saan nanalo tayo ng gold ang inalis ng organizing committee sa Vietnam, no? Well, we know na ganun talaga pagka-host, no? Ano bang hakbang na iniisip mong gawin ng PSC at ng POC para masolusyonan itong mga problema ng NSAs natin na nabawasan yung mga events na kung saan inaasahan tayong mananalo uli ng golds?
Yes, that's really the advantage of being the host, no? But I am meeting with the POC leadership ngayong towards the end of the month during their General Assembly. So we will start pencil pushing and review what are the sports that are going to be played in Vietnam, no? And we will check our medal performances in those sports, no? Yeah, sayang maraming athletes belonging to the sports na nagwagi, kumuha ng maraming medalya. Isa na doon yung arnis, no? So napakaraming medalya noon, mahigit 10 yun. So we'll really just have to prepare our athletes that will be competing in the sports that are going to be played in Vietnam, no? I'm pretty sure offhand, personally, yung mga medalist natin na sa last Asian Games, palagay ko magiging shoe-in na sila sa lineup this coming games, no? Para ma-defend man nila yung medals nila na panalunan nila the last SEA Games. So we can really only hope for the best and prepare. As I said from the beginning, it's really the preparation of our athletes, and medyo mahirapan tayo ng konti dyan kung wala talagang vaccine, no? So with the announcement last night of President Duterte with regards to the vaccine when they are coming, I really hope maagahan, mabigyan ng priority yung atleta natin, no? They bring such honor to the country, so I think bibigyan din natin sila ng priority doon sa vaccines.
Commissioner, bukod dito sa SEA Games, meron pang tayong isang inaasikaso na competition. Ito nga, kung mas malaki na sa Tokyo Olympics, no? Sa parte ng PSC, ano pong nakikita niyong budget na maaari nating i-allocate para dito sa SEA Games, so bukod doon sa Olympics?
Well, we will have to sit down and study that, Ed, no? We have to determine more or less how many athletes are going, and from there we can plan the budget for the game. So anyway, I think we still have enough time to do that. We just have to review our lineup for the games, Ed, because before we really can determine the budget and all.
Okay, thank you for the answers, Commissioner. No? Marami pa kaming itatanong later on, no? Lalo na yung mga kasama ko. Ernest, tanungin ko naman si Sir Jeremy Go and si Ronnel na rin, team captain ng Go for Gold sa cycling. Sir Jeremy, yung sa Go for Gold, alam natin na madami kayong sinusuportahan talaga na sports, no? And last year nga, nung nakasama ka namin sa National Press Club, naidagdag din yung chess sa mga sports na sinusuportahan ng Go for Gold. Pero itong last year na talagang madaming naapektuhan na sports, nagkaroon tayo ng mga lockdown. Ano po ang mga ginawa ng Go for Gold para mapanatili yung suporta niyang Go for Gold sa sports sa mga atleta natin?
Thank you for the question. Alam naman natin last year hindi talaga maganda na nangyari, and then hanggang ngayon nafe-feel pa rin natin yung effects ng pandemic. Hindi naman ako magsisinungaling na hindi naapekto yung negosyo namin, and syempre mahirap naman magsuporta ng buo pag yun pera at saka yung kita hindi pumapasok. Pero sinasabi naman namin sa mga athletes namin na pag naging okay na or pag may mga kailangan na expenses, pwede nating pag-usapan and ayusin. For most of last year naman, since walang events, halos lahat ng sports namin wala talagang natuloy na event. Meron kasing mga nag-try na invite in Philippines, certain sports, pero hindi rin tayo makaalis because limited yung flights. Ganon. Hindi rin ganun kalaki yun na required na igastos. So at least kahit pa paano, yun naman yung malaking expenses namin as a sports program talaga yun, mga events and then those sort of things. So right now we are continually in contact with the various sports na support namin. We are asking for ano yung mga programs nila in the future, and kung pag nagka-vaccine na or pag may mga training na, kung anong mga tulong na kailangan nila. And we're hoping na tuloy-tuloy na to with the vaccine coming, and then with yun nga, as Commissioner Mon said, the SEA Games and Tokyo Olympics coming, we have some athletes we are helping to prepare for those games. So sana tuloy-tuloy na.
Sir Jeremy, dito sa Tokyo Olympics saka dun sa SEA Games sa Vietnam, sino po yung mga atleta na patuloy na sinusuportahan ng Go for Gold? At ano may mga programa na naka-line up para sa kanila, para yung preparations nila ay magpatuloy naman kahit may pandemic pa din tayo?
Well, honestly, it's a little early, I think, for us to have concrete na training plans because everything is changing. Alam mo naman, month to month, may mga bagong strain or may mga gano'n na baka ma-prevent ang athletes natin from training. As of now, I believe all of our athletes naman are continually creating a base, I guess you could say, training at home, training outside if it's safe, diba? Social distancing, ganon. Definitely for Tokyo 2021, ang sinusupport namin is si Marjeline Didal sa skateboarding. As you know, we've been a long time supporter of Philippine skateboarding, and we are hoping to continue that. If may kailangan naman sila, we're always in contact with their NSA and their president kung may mga requirement. I know si Margie right now is in Cebu, continually training when she can. I think ang maganda dun, they managed to build a small park for her, a small skate park, so she can keep current. Pero minsan nakikita ko kahit nasa dining room at saka sa living room, nagpa-practice siya eh. So that's good. For SEA Games, hindi pa naman tayo sure. I think a lot of the athletes or a lot of the NSAs will have qualifiers. So we're not sure which of our athletes will definitely go there. But if it's anything like yun sa Manila, probably at least 20 or 30 ng mga athletes na sinusupport namin will be going to the SEA Games.
Okay, thank you, Sir Jeremy. Tanungin ko naman si Ronnel na alam natin na team captain ng Go for Gold sa cycling team, no? Ronnel, last year madaming mga cycling competitions ang hindi natuloy because of the pandemic, and this year tinitignan pa rin kung ano ang mga maaari na ituloy na competitions. Paano ba naka-apekto sa iyo as an athlete itong nakaraang pandemic, at paano mo maintain yung physical and mental condition mo para mapanatili pa rin yung pagiging top-notch cyclist mo?
Thank you, sir. Bali, napakahirap po talaga sa pagiging athlete ang nangyari sa panahon natin ngayon. Kasi, syempre, lahat ng kilos natin, limit eh. Pero, syempre, nakakagawa kami ng paraan tulad ng indoor training. So, karamihan natin ng cyclist ngayon sa national team at saka sa Go for Gold, yung iba sa kanila is meron na rin tinatawag na smart trainer eh. So yun lang yung chance na ginagawa natin, kaya napakahirap kasi unang-una yung mga karera na cancel, which is na dapat is magandang training siya para sa darating na SEA Games kung sakaling makakalaro. Lahat yun na nawala dahil nga sa pandemic. So ginagawa namin ng paraan para hindi bumaba yung level namin. Sumasali kami sa mga like e-racing, yung sa mga online siya na race para at least kahit papaano hindi bumaba yung level. Para pagdating naman sa SEA Games is sa tingin ko medyo mahihirapan lahat ng cyclist eh, kasi unang-una, limit yung kilos namin, hindi kami makakilos, hindi kami makapag-training na maayos. At karamihan ng nasa national team is nasa military, so hindi rin makakuha ng pag-start ng training. So, tingin ko yung sa darating na SEA Games medyo hindi magiging madali. Pero syempre wala pa naman tayo sa stage na kailangan na mag-base training, pero tingin ko kaya naman nating humabol. Pero sana yun lang, sana matulungan yung mga siklista ngayon na paano magagawa ng paraan para makapag-training.
Okay, thank you, Ronnel. Tingin ko naman si Sir Winston. Sir Winston, pag-usapan naman po natin itong tournament bridge. Nabanggit nyo kanina na associate member na ng POC ang association nyo. Ano po ba ang mga programa na nakalatag ngayong taon para sa tournament bridge? Paano po yung naka-apekto yung COVID pandemic sa inyong sports?
First of all, I think as everybody knows, bridge is classified as a mind game. And everybody knows the only mind game that is included in the Olympics and the Asian Games is chess. Fortunately, 2 years ago, there was a decision made to include bridge as one of the mind games in both the Asian Games and the Olympics. Unfortunately, as we knew, COVID came in the way, and we were prepared to, participate. Indeed, COVID has affected us, but fortunately for the game of bridge, you can actually play online. There is a forum called Bridge Base Online. You can actually partner with anybody in the world, tapos maglaro ka ng bridge. That is on the online. But as far as the members ng association namin po, with a mind towards hopefully the Olympics and the Asian Games, we hold weekday games 3 times, once a month on Saturdays. Hindi nagawa namin yon because of COVID. Subalit, some of the members on their own, this just tells you how passionate they are about the game. Na following COVID protocols, however, naglalaro din sila. They find time to play, either online or may nag-iimbita sa lugar nila at naglalaro sila. By the way, before I forget, I was looking at the commissioner. I should have mentioned this, that I was not a mind gamer ng bata po ako. I was more into physical games like basketball. Mabuti na lang at tumatanda na medyo mind game na lang ang kaya. At saka si Ramon Fernandez was one of my idols growing up. Marami ako napanalunan sa mga pustahan dahil sa magaling na center ng Toyota. Any other question?
Sir, right now, ilang po ang mga players natin na active na naglalaro ng bridge? Nabanggit nyo kanina na nag-compete na tayo sa Asian Games before. So ano po ang nangyari nun?
Actually, one of my priceless possessions during my tour, I'm only on my second year as president of PTBA, was attending the Southeast Asian Bridge tournament in Kuala Lumpur 2 years ago, and our youth team won the championship. Kaya nga may picture pa ako dito. So, kasi I realized na yung aming association, the focus should be on the youth. Although in bridge tournaments, iba-iba yung category. Merong open, just like any other sports perhaps. Meron ding senior. I usually participate in the senior tournament. Youth, women, and then open. So there are so many chances of getting a medal. And the reason I'm trying to push this, because we never were part of the Philippine team per se, under the PSC and the POC. It has always been as a Philippine Tournament Bridge Association. I think it is time, in my view, na may sali naman kami doon sa. And we had to spend, by the way, the association that we spend for these champions, youth champions. We never got a cent from the POC or the PSC. But understandably, because kami ay associate member lamang at that time. Thanks to the present president and the chairman, we are already a regular member. So hopefully, nakapasok na rin kami sa kusina at kung meron namang binibigay dyan na kung anong pagkain, makasama na rin kami po.
Sir, counterparts nyo sa East Asia, may mga hakbang na ba kayong ginagawa para magkaroon kayo ng competition na rin, maisama na din sa SEA Games ang bridge?
Bridge has been really active we are part of several organizations in the world. World Bridge Federation, Asia Pacific, and all of that. But not under the hubris of the Olympics and Asian Games. In fact, early on, I mean, I am a latecomer insofar as the association is concerned. Early on, do you know that if you go to the University of the Philippines, you can substitute bridge with physical education towards your degree? And we have a core of students in our University of the Philippines that conduct on their own, youth ito. On their own, they have tournaments weekly. And of course, these are, for a mind game, you know, the scholars of UP are just perfect for the game. My hope is that under the new leadership and hopefully with the commissioner listening, medyo maisali kami dyan. We participate, but on our own. Pero, you know, so we have a feeling of belonging to our sports, to our Olympic Committee and the Sports Commission. Sana naman po ay maisali kami. If you can just, if the commissioner can just pass the word to the top echelon and the decision makers of POC, PSC, I would really be grateful. On behalf, of course, of the Philippine Tournament Bridge Association.
Okay, thank you, Sir Winston. Ernest, I'm sure maraming gusto itanong ni mga kasama natin.
Yes, sir. Yung kanina pang nag-aantay po dito, si Sir Arman Armero, kating-kate na magtanong sa ating mga panauhin. Sir Arman, magandang umaga po. Sir Arman, mag-mute po tayo. Hello, sir.
Yes, good morning. Morning, Ernest. Good morning sa lahat. Siyensya na. Ito kung tanungin si Commissioner Ramon Fernandez. Good morning, Com.
Good morning, Arman. Kumusta?
Kasi naisip ko lang kasi practically na parang next year, parang last year na ni Mayor ni President Duterte yung practically kasi by 2022 election na. So wala nang masyadong sports activity. So campaign na 'yon. So meron bang parang pressure from Malacanang to really do well para sa next SEA Games? Kasi syempre parang Duterte paalis na 'yan. Parang parting gift niyang another overall championship ng SEA Games. Meron bang ganung may push bang ganun, may pressure bang ganun?
Well, Arman, from the onset of Mayor Duterte's administration, President PRRD, from the onset, binili na yun ang kabilin-bilinan na niya kay Chairman Boots, na alagaan yung mga atleta, ayusin yung tirahan, pagkain nila. Kaya all those in-improve namin during our term. Meron silang canteen, meron na tayong mga nutritionist na hinire to take care of their nutrition and food. Hindi lang yun, nakita niyo naman, maski sa Batang Pinoy, sa PNG, SEA Games, Asian Games, yung incentive dinodoble ni Presidente. Tuwing siya lang ang Presidente na lahat ng delegation ng national teams nakakabisita sa kanya at talagang inaasikaso. Yun na lang, napahalagahan talaga niya ang nagagawa ng mga atleta para sa bayan natin. Sports inspires, unites, and so forth. Yung last visit ng mga medalists sa Malacanang, more than 300 medalists yata yun. Yan, hinandshake na for almost more than 3 hours. nakatayo siya. You know? So, he doesn't have to pressure us anymore. We know what his instructions were from the very beginning. So, tuloy-tuloy naman yan. Yun naman ang trabaho namin sa PSC, Arman, no? Considering na kulang talaga ang budget ng PSC. We all know that, no? If we compare PSC budget with our Southeast Asian neighbors or Asian neighbors for that matter, napakalayo pa rin natin, no? So, as I've said in the beginning, for preparations of international competition, budget lang naman talaga ang kailangan na, because we all know that we only have to prepare our athletes, expose them to the highest level of competition. Yun lang naman ang formula doon, for them to be successful. As we know, athletes are only as good as their competition. So, kailangan sabak natin sila sa the best competitions worldwide. And yun lang ang ginawa namin in the last year games. Pinadala, they were all over the world, 1 month, 2 months, even 3 months yung iba. And bubunga talaga. So, walang pressure. That's the job of the PSC, to take care of the athletes, and we are going to do that, no? Whether matapos yung term namin sa 2022 is material, no? We will do it until the end, until the last day of our term, Arman.
Another question ko, kasi yung nabanggit nyo nga kanina na mas medyo mahirap kung SEA Games na because of the pandemic. Kasi tingin ko, nagkaroon ka ng dagdag na trabaho kasi nagkaroon tayo ng, we have to follow certain health protocols para ma-prevent natin yung infection among the athletes, di ba? So mas doble yung trabaho mo kaysa dun sa ibang ginawa ng mga ibang chef de mission ng the past SEA Games.
That's true, Arman. It's doubly or even triply hard, especially as I mentioned, that preparation and training is the key to the success of our athletes, no? But we will be working closely with the IATF and the DOH and the other agencies on hand, trying to control this pandemic, no? So that's why I said ang key talaga dito is yung vaccine din, no? So more or less makakapag-practice, makakapag-prepare in a normal way of training and practicing for these types of competitions, international competitions. So we'll do our best, we'll adjust to the situation, but the key is the vaccine.
Okay. Thank you, Com. At good luck do sa pagiging chef de mission mo. Alam ko mahirap na sa trabaho 'yan. Oh, mahirap na trabaho. Tatanungin ko si Jeremy. Can I ask Jeremy some questions? Good morning, sir. Jeremy.
Good morning, Arman.
Good morning po. Kumusta po yung mga kumusta po yung sino pong chess player ang support niyo, yung bata? Sino ba 'yan?
Si Marvin.
Si Marvin. Kumusta po si Marvin?
Actually, sa mga interesting developments, I'm not sure kung nalabas na. Kausap ko yun, dad niya, I think it was late last year or early this year. He is going to be part of a professional chess team.
Yun po.
I mean, I have to confess na hindi talaga ako ganyan ka well-versed sa chess So I'm not really that aware of yung specifics ng team that he will be joining, pero parang lalabas he's the second chair or something like that in a professional chess team, which I think is a very, very good thing for him kasi nare-recognize yun talent niya at a very young age. we're still, of course, supporting him in his quest to be, I think the term is a grandmaster, from the first grandmaster from Davao, I believe yun yung what he's trying to do, and possibly one of the youngest ever from the Philippines.
Yung
Pero
pag-join niyo pa
naman-
dun sa yung pag-join niyo dun sa professional league na yun, susuportahan niyo pa rin.
Oh, we continue naman to support him in yung kailangan niya. So depending on, normally naman we work with yung athletes and NSAs if they have requirements that are outside of PSC or POC funding. So we believe in working together with yun mga agencies and then NSAs na already have support, and minsan baka na they just need additional, dun kami nagtutulong. So like with si Marvin, di ba, when he had some, I think, yun last year because of the pandemic, he had to do a lot of online training with his coach in Hungary. So we helped with some of the expenses doon.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, and good luck kay Marvin and your other athletes. And
Thank you.
kay Sir Winston, Bridge ba yun? May tatanong lang po ako kay Sir Winston. Good morning po. Morning. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning po.
Hello.
Kasi nabanggit niyo kasi mind game yung yung bridge, di ba? parang chess yan eh.
Yeah.
Chess kasi we follow mga chess tournament. Merong mga time na yung may cheating na nangyayari eh. Sa online,
Yes.
di pa rin nakakawala yung cheating sa online. Sa bridge ba nangyayari yung ganun?
That is true. May have the technical details, but as a matter of fact, a couple of days ago, I got a message from the World Bridge Federation. Apparently, may nangyari nga na cheating online. I'm still trying to determine how can you cheat online. So we had to disseminate it to our members kasi it's time na may nangyayari sa World Bridge Federation as being part of it. And by the way, we pay dues to the World Bridge Federation, and I think POC of late has reimbursed our payment for that. But to get back to your question, totoo yan, may nangyayari na ano.
Pero among our local players, wala naman po kayo.
I did not get the details. As a matter of fact, one of our members up to now asked me. So I have sent a message to the Secretary of the World Bridge Federation. What exactly was the cheating in this particular game? Kasi if you can, you have a partner, right? Sa bridge. You can actually cheat if you want to, A twitch of the eye will tell you I have 3 aces. It's supposed to be an honest game, but you can cheat. Pag nag-bid ako, sinabi kong 1 heart, ay mali, ni S 1 heart lang pala. That means I may have 6 or 7 hearts. But you can take it back. How will you know that that was cheating? That was an honest mistake. So bottom line, at the end of the day, it is a gentleman's game, and we rely on our players to be honest. Otherwise, why participate in a game when your intent is to cheat? You might as well join politics. I'm sorry, take that back. You might as well do something else.
Okay. Sige po. Thank you po. Kasi alam ko meron sa chess eh. Meron sa kasi madali lang mag-cheat sa chess eh.
Mali lang yung statement kong huli. I take it back.
Hindi, okay lang
It's
po.
out of the bag, so I may have to feel responsible for that.
Thank you po. And good luck po. Okay, Ernest, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Sir Arman. Ang susunod pong magtatanong natin dito ay from his hacienda, Mr. Dennis Eroa. Sir
Ay,
Dennis,
si Don Dennis.
Don Dennis is here.
Ay, naririnig nyo?
Karinig po.
Kala ko panghuli na ako kasi unahin natin yung mga matatanda.
Nako. parang di ko matanda.
Anyway, I have to say that I am very glad that the chef de mission is a legend, no? During his time as a professional athlete, ngayon marami siyang ginagawa para sa kapakanan ng sports. You know why? In this time of pandemic, kailangan natin ng isang leader na may pangalan. May pangalan na kayang dalhin ang karangalan ng Pilipinas sa ibang bansa. Kasi napakahirap ng sitwasyon ngayon. Anyway, marami nang natanong kay Commissioner. No? Tatanong ko lang, meron bang kayong alam na ginagawa na ng Vietnam sa kanilang hosting tungkol dito sa mga health protocols na ito? Magkakaroon ba ng mga bubble din doon sa SEA Games? Paano bang sitwasyon dyan?
Hi Dennis, bagay na bagay sa iyo yung James Bond hat. James Bond ba yan? Yung sombrero?
Al Capone.
Al Capone.
Nakakalbo na eh.
I was caught by surprise when they appointed me. Thanks again to Bumble and Kong Bumble and the POC Executive Committee. I was really surprised. So I really don't have any idea, except we're busy kasi right now preparing our athletes for the Olympics. No, so I will be meeting with the POC leadership towards the end of the month. So we will start pencil pushing and plan for the games, no? So wala pa Dennis. So that's baka mukhang bagay kang maging agent. Papadala ka namin sa Vietnam para mag-scout kaya doon.
But do you think na is there a possibility na kasi maraming crowd na nanonood dyan na magkaroon sila ng yung bubble na tinatawag? Do you think may mga ganong gagawin ng host country?
May probably they will, but okay lang naman yun. Sa tingin ko, that's why gagawin nga namin very limited yung coverage. No, we may have a weekly or bi-monthly press conference doon sa Inspire. We'll be showing them the mistakes of the athletes, the major parts, the good parts, the good habits of the athletes. We will not show them. We will not show it. No? So anyway, I'm pretty sure meron ding mga nagbabantay sa atin yan the same way as nagbabantay din tayo sa ibang countries. So we'll just do our part. Magbabago naman yung performances ng mga athletes when they are on the floor already, Dennis. So
Yeah.
don't worry so much about that. I would rely, as I said, this is all about the athletes. I would rely on the ability and capacity of our athletes to perform really well.
You know, I have to...
Important lang is their preparation talaga.
Yeah.
Worry ko talaga.
I have to second the motion ng yung actually not the motion, yung thinking ni Mr. Armero na hindi nga lang doubly hard kundi baka triple hard pa ang magiging trabaho mo as chef de mission considering the atmosphere, you know, the situation with the COVID and everything. But I'm pretty confident kasi sa PBA marami kang mga struggle, marami kang exploit. Malulusutan natin lahat yan. Malulusutan ng Team Philippines. Thank you po. Thank you.
Yes, Dennis, with the help of and cooperation of the NSAs and the athletes, we can surpass that. We can survive this pandemic. No?
Thank you, Ernest. Thank you at magandang araw po sa inyong lahat.
Magandang umaga rin Sir Dennis at thank you for those questions. At ang susunod pong magtatanong ay si Edwin Rolyon from Balita. Nasaan na si Sir Edwin? Nawala? Nawala yata si Sir Edwin eh. No, but anyway, we will move on to our next reporter na magtatanong. Brian Yalong. Brian, nangyari kay Edwin. Brian.
Takot siguro sa akin. Hindi, may question lang kay Sir Mon. Sir Mon, congrats. As usual, I'm very proud na kayo yung bagong chef mission. No? Pero questions ko lang kasi nga, everybody knows we're in this pandemic. Trainings were altered, pero you have this Calamba bubble ba? Yung sa Calamba, you have bubble for the athletes. How do you think this will help the athletes in Vietnam for the SEA Games?
Well, in the bubble, they will be able to train in a normal way, no? They'll have their, unlike now, na they're training on their own, puro physical conditioning lang. In the bubble, they will have their sparring partners, no? Especially for the martial arts sports, no? But yung hindi lang naman sa bubble sila magti-training, Brian, no? Like in the case of karate, they will just stay in the bubble for almost a month, I think. Come February, they will be flying to Turkey, and they will be participating in 3 major tournaments, I think in Portugal and somewhere there, and go back to Turkey to train until almost the SEA Games na yan, no? I've been to Turkey and watched and observed their program karate, as far as karate is concerned, their karate program, and nangihinaya nga sila na ngayon lang nasali sa Olympics ang karate, no? They have very good karate athletes, no? World class. In fact, our national coach now, si Mr. Okay Arpa, is a former world and European, several time European champion, no? And he's not only used to be a national team athlete nga. He's also a graduate of sports science, no? So everything about preparation of athletes, hindi lang sa techniques, but even in the sciences needed, no? So, and boxing also, ABAP is trying to look for tournaments in Europe, no? To prepare further Yumer Marshall and the other qualifiers, no? So, ipapadala pa rin natin yan. Yun lang ang sinabi ko nga, ang priority talaga is budget and competition, preparing them, no? Basically, that's the formula really needed for our athletes to be successful.
Sir, you follow up lang. You mentioned na there is international training lined up ahead scheduled. No? Ngayon, siguro sir, narinig nyo na may bagong strain na lumalabas and some countries are being put on lockdown. Paano sir, would this be a factor to consider sa performance nila kung sakasakaling the destination nila is ma-lockdown? Yung kumbaga the tournament is called off.
As I said also in the beginning, Brian, it's really about COVID again, no? Ang makakahinder lang sa atin, no? But we have to look at the positive side of things. We hope that those countries can really contain the spread in their areas, so we can go about the business of sending them there and training there, no? Yun lang talaga. That's why I even said that the vaccine has to be there first, no? We're hoping Chairman Butch Ramirez is meeting with the leadership sa IATF and the DOH para ma-request na bigyan ng priority ang mga atleta natin sa vaccines, no? Preparation. That's the key. And the budget, of course.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Tapos ka na, Brian?
Nag-thank na ako eh. Di tapos na.
Hindi ka nagsasabing tapos ka na. Anyway, our next... wala pa ba si Sir Dennis? Wala na, pinaglaban na daw ng Mrs. Sabi ni Sir Dennis. Now, anyway, our next question is coming from Cara Malyonga from the Games and Amusement Board. Nako, Don Ramon, inaabol kayo ng gab.
Hindi po, sorry, nandito pa ako sa office. Ayan, magandang umaga po sa inyo. Hi, Sir Mon. Hi, Sir Jeremy. And hi, Sir Winston po. Sige, I have a few questions lang po. So,
Hello, Miss Cara, malabo po yung signal natin.
Sir Jeremy.
Hello?
Much appreciation po towards your support sa augment din po yung much appreciation nga po kay Sir Jeremy sa kanyang efforts din to augment the efforts of the PSC in providing world-class training to our athletes. I would just like to know, in terms of, and also for the benefit ng ating aspiring athletes and other athletes out there, how do you actually apply for the Go for Gold support? Do you handpick your athletes or is there an application process? Do you mind running us through the application process if ever there is?
Well, currently we work with NSAs. So we like in terms of skateboarding and then in terms of like sepak takraw, we work directly with the NSAs and then they tell us their requirements. And then even like sa Philippine Dragon Boat, ganon. For yun mga, ang tinitingnan, maybe you're asking yun mga trade teams namin, we only have yun sa cycling naman na parang it's a UCI Continental team which we have development scouts also for our cycling team, and then yun nagtitingin rin kami sa mga tryout or sa mga events. Pero ang suggestion ko to athletes who are looking for additional support from us, for now, I cannot promise anything because we're still in recovery mode and we have to focus on the sports and the athletes that we currently are supporting. But maybe in 2021, we can look at opening up to more sports and then they can always contact me. Diba? I'm active naman on Facebook or sa Go for Gold. And then if they have a proposal or requirements na kailangan nila, we are open naman to looking at it and seeing na if we can help. The main things naman we look at is yung potential ng sport or ng athletes to, I guess, bring honor or mag-medal sa country because syempre hindi naman natin matutulungan yun lahat. Alam naman rin ni Commissioner Mon, yun money is, di ba, not unlimited. So we really need to budget that properly. But as much as possible, kung kaya namin tumulong, we will try.
Okay, thank you very much po, Sir Jerome, for that information. Sige po, let me move on po to Sir Winston Arpon. So, Sir Winston, well, the common misconception po nga kasi is bridge is only for a mature set of people. And you mentioned a while ago that you want to reach out to the Filipino youth in order to further develop world-class bridge players. I'd like to know lang po, what are the current measures that you are taking to make bridge more appealing to our Filipino youth? Sir Winston?
Hello, Sir Winston. Hello. Hello, sir.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Ms. Cara, pakiulit yung tanong po.
Sige po. Sir, so as I've said a while ago, yung common misconception nga po natin is yung bridge po is actually a sport for a more mature audience or a more mature age group. So, kanina po nabanggit nyo na you would like to reach out to the Filipino youth in order to further develop world-class bridge players. I'd like to know lang po, what are the current measures that you are taking to make bridge more appealing to our Filipino youth and to dispel the misconceptions that we have about bridge?
Yeah, it's a very good question. You're right. Traditionally, the members of the association are seniors. But the requirements of the game are such that you have to have women, as I said earlier, youth, and all categories of all ages. In my early life, young people drifted to bridge. You didn't have to do anything. You know, in 4 years of my life at the academy, bridge was a sports we turned to. Over the years, ewan ko, dumating yung mga pusoy dos. They tended towards pusoy instead of bridge. So the challenge is for us to engage the youth back into the game. And we have a grassroots level program for that one. We started with UP, we're looking at other schools, and there is some kind of a difference of opinion, whether you started off at the high school level or the college level or elementary, where it becomes a fun game rather than a serious one if you go up the ladder in our educational system. But rest assured that the members of the board have been looking into this. This is the number one issue that we have to face. How do we engage the youth in bridge? Perhaps the first thing, if you ask me, and I don't think a lot of people agree with it, considering that a lot of old people in our association, perhaps we should be willing to stand back. Do you know that in Singapore, their bridge association is run by young people? The seniors are just like tutors, advisors in a way. It's not an easy thing to do because we love the game, all of us still love the game, but we must be able to strike a happy medium, I think, between engaging the young people, because that is the future of bridge, as it is, I think, in any sports. I hope I answered your question.
Hey, sir. Thank you very much, Sir Winston. At least that gives life to the current measures that you are planning and willing to take on in terms of reaching out to our youth. And lastly po, kay Commissioner Ramon Fernandez. Comon, magandang umaga po.
Good morning, Sarah.
Ay, good morning pa pala. So, good morning po, Comon. Well, there are a lot of news po about the vaccine. So, left, right, and center po yung balita natin. And with the bubble, mostly done to help protect the athletes po from acquiring the COVID virus, becoming asymptomatic, and infecting their families. I'd like to know po that aside from vaccinating the athletes, do we also have plans of vaccinating po yung family members nila, lalo po dun sa mga athletes na nag-uuwian po at may vulnerable family members? Is it also being considered po, Comon?
Of course, no. That will really depend on, again, the budgets, Kara, no. Protecting the athletes and their families comes together, no? Magkasabay yun. Kasi uuwi din sila sa pamilya nila. No? So mahirap. But anyway, while we are waiting for that, yung mga sasali naman sa bubble before they enter the bubble, the usual PCR test, no? And it's really controlled there. In fact, wala nga pwedeng pumasok na doon when they start that, no? But Chairman, as I mentioned, Chairman Ramirez is working on getting the vaccines to prioritize the athletes, no?
Okay, thank you very much po, Comon.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Ernest.
Thank you, Ms. Cara. At susunod po magtatanong sa atin ay si Sir Ron de los Reyes. Sir Ron, magandang umaga, Sir Ron. Hindi pa yata ready si Sir Ron, no? Ito na. Ang inaantay ni Brian Yalong. Ay, hindi, ito na. Si Sir Ron.
Nagkamali lang pindot sa phone eh.
Ayan, sir. Okay, game na
I'm sorry, I missed a few portions of the session, ano? But I hope hindi pa ito na itanong, no? Kay Commissioner Ramon Fernandez. First of all, Commissioner, congratulations on your appointment.
Thank you, Ron.
Yes. I remember that in 2005, we were the overall champions. But the following Southeast Asian Games in Nakhon Ratchasima in Thailand, we went down to, if I'm not mistaken, number 5. Do you think this will not happen in the coming Vietnam SEA Games, considering that yung pandemic is like an equalizer, no, for all the countries participating, except perhaps for Vietnam, which is the host country. Sa tingin po ba ninyo ay hindi mangyayari yung babagsak tayo sa mababang pwesto ng SEA Games? Maybe we could go for number 2 or number 3.
Well, as I kept on saying, Ron, the key really is to allow our athletes to get back to the normal way of preparing for these games, no? Ang gulo nga tong COVID na ito. Probably lamang talaga ang Vietnam, no, considering sila ang host, sila nakapamili ng sports and events, and marami sa ating mga gold medalists and medalists for that matter ay hindi makakasali doon, no? So we will really just hope for the best. Try as much as possible to prepare these athletes that are going to Vietnam, no? As I kept on saying earlier, it's really about preparation of these athletes, no? In 2019, we were able to send all our athletes all over the world for 2-3 months to prepare, no? So again, budget din ang kailangan, no? As long as we have the budget and we are able to send these athletes to the highest levels of competition, I think fairest forecast for me is we should be in the top 3 pa rin naman, no?
Thank you, Com. Isa na lang question. Meron tayong Kalam Bubble, which is for athletes bound for the Tokyo Olympics. Meron bang plano ang ating PSC na gumawa rin ng ganito para sa ating mga SEA Games bound athletes? I think the Clark City would be very ideal, except that it is being used as a quarantine place for COVID. At hindi ko alam kung meron kayong ganung plano para sa ating mga atleta for Vietnam.
Well, sa ngayon, I still haven't talked to the POC leadership. We'll be meeting towards the end of the month. We will take into consideration everything, Ron, no, just to prepare these athletes for the SEA Games. And I kept on saying that's really going to be the key, no? So no matter what it takes, we'll try our best. We'll work around COVID and hoping, as I said, magkaroon na ng vaccine May or June man lang sana, no? Ma-prioritize natin ang mga atleta so they can go back to their normal training in preparation for the SEA Games.
Isang pahabol na lang. Isang pahabol na lang. Kasi when Chairman William Ramirez guested on TOPS some months ago, he mentioned that pag dumating na yung vaccine, isasama na rin daw ang mga sports media bilang mga frontliner din, ano? Like the PSA members and the TOPS members. Ganun pa rin ho ba ang iniisip ng ating commission?
Yes, hindi naman magbabago yun, Ron. Everybody involved in sports, as much as possible, we will try to accommodate that. No, you guys, the press, are very much needed to record the achievements of these athletes. No, their journey as athletes. No, you are very much a big part of their journey. So If the budget allows, Ron, wala talagang problema, no? Chairman is working with IATF and DOH with regards to the vaccines.
Maraming po salamat, Commissioner. And again, congratulations. I'd like to ask a question to Mr. Jeremy Go and to our cyclist, Marlon. Mr. Go, we really appreciate na despite of the existing situation, marami sa ating mga atleta ang nagpapatuloy ng kanilang pagsasanay for some other events, especially the Southeast Asian Games. And with this condition, do you think our athletes, our cyclists in particular, will still be competitive? Para kay Mr. Jeremy Go. And for Marlon as well.
I believe naman na the pandemic hit the whole world. So everybody, all countries, especially here in Southeast Asia, I think, will have had their own challenges. Now, I won't say na mas mahirap tayo or mas madali sa kanila. But I have seen other countries have been training. So perhaps there's going to be a slight advantage there. Last year, actually, we were supposed to go to Thailand for the Tour of Thailand, which was an event in Thailand na pinayagan nila. But unfortunately, we could not get a flight to Thailand during this time. Very strict yun, quarantine, and it was very difficult for us to find a flight there. But they did invite us to go there. However, I have seen yung training ng mga national team natin, especially as Ronnel said in mga virtual and yung mga smart training. We have one close to a year or 10 months to prepare. I'm fairly confident that our cycling team will be ready come the time. Nag-meeting rin kami ni Congressman and POC Chairman President Bambol Tolentino during the field cycling meeting, and he promised naman full support for our cyclists. As minention lang ni Ronnel, ang nagiging issue lang namin ngayon is some of our cycling athletes are also members of the armed forces. So medyo mahirap silang i-pull out for training. Alam naman natin, of course, yung priority pa rin is to combat the virus.
Okay, isang tanong na lamang po, no? There's a group led by Marites Bitbit, former national athlete. She is organizing some events in Baguio. This is on mountain bike. And also, I think meron din siyang plano na magkaroon ng road cycling event. I don't know if you've been updated on this, and what can you say about this?
Well, actually, Marites, I've known her for a very long time, and we are constantly naman in contact. She updates me about her events, and I think I've seen that she's done a very good job there, lalo na with developing new trails and opening up the sport to the people of Baguio. I mean, I have promised her that I will go visit her up in Baguio once mas maluwag na. At this moment, of course, I don't want to add to the burden ng city there when alam ko, while it is open, I would prefer to not be there pag hindi priority or hindi siya, 'di ba, important na task, kasi alam ko naman na they're trying to quarantine there. But I will definitely visit her hopefully within this year, and then mag-uusap kami additionally on how else we can support yung mga athletes in Baguio. As an aside, we also kasi have triathlon, grassroots development, and cycling grassroots in Baguio. We have seen the potential of yung athletes natin from, I guess, highlands ba ang term, yung mga from higher altitudes, and that is something that we are trying to develop. Oo.
Thank you, Mr. Go. At isang tanong din kay Jonel. Si Jonel ba yung nandyan, athlete natin?
Ronnel.
Jomel. Jomel.
Ronnel.
Ronnel, sorry. Ronnel, nabanggit mo kanina na meron kang pinagpapatuloy na indoor training for cycling. Ito ba yung sarili mong equipment or is it provided by the association?
Bali,
Ronnel.
sariling equipment, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
It must have cost a lot. Medyo mahal yung gamit na yan, di ba?
Yes, sir.
Stationary
Medyo po.
bike.
Pero meron naman mga choices na pwedeng mabili. Depende kung anong budget meron ka.
Ronnel, congratulations kasi talagang na-appreciate namin yung mga atletang katulad mo, no? Despite the odds, despite the very tough challenges, nandun pa rin yung desire nyo to excel in your sport. Pero in your part, ano ba yung motivation mo for you to continue with this kind of attitude and the training that you've been having?
Sir, kasi ang cycling kasi sir, para sa akin, passion ko na to, sir eh. Dati nasa military ako, so pinagpalit ko yung pagiging military ko sa pagpapatuloy ko sa sports ko.
And do you think you are on target?
Yes, sir. Hindi man ako naging ganun kasikat, pero sa tingin ko, sir, nakakapag-produce ako ng magaling na siklista na yun yung magpapatuloy na para makatulong sa atin, sir, sa bayan natin.
Okay. If I may add, ilang taon ka na, Ronnel?
Bali, 38 years old na, sir.
38.
Yes, sir.
So do you think you still have so many years ahead in your cycling career?
Siguro, sir, mga 2 years na lang, sir. Depende rin. Yes, sir. Pero kung magpapatuloy, siguro magko-coach.
Magko-coach ka na?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's very good to hear. Maraming salamat, Ronnel. No?
Thank you, sir.
Okay, sa aking mga kasamahan, isang tanong na lang kay Mr. Winston. I don't know if I missed some of his answers earlier. Meron kasi dumating na delivery, no? Mr. Winston, sir, yung bridge, medyo matagal na ho yan. No? Parang it's even a royal sport, no? Sport
Yes.
for the members of the royal family in the ancient days, no? Pero sa ngayon po, ilan ang practitioners ng bridge dito sa ating bansa? And what is the ratio among yung nabanggit nyo nga, yung mga young people and the older ones?
Unfortunately, it is a small number.
Mm-hmm.
Kaya nga ang sagot ko kanina when I asked about our initiatives is really the future of bridge rests on the younger people. And the idea is how do you engage them again? Our membership, for example, is like 120, and these are passionate members. But you cannot rely, on this group of senior citizens, if you will, to propagate the game and make it, more importantly, to make it more competitive so that it will contribute towards hopefully some medals in the future. Now that it is already a sport in both the Olympics and the Asian Games. So, as I said, we are trying to involve our young people in the game. We have not gotten the response that we thought should get. But I was hoping that since a source of motivation, I think, could be the fact that they can now aim, just like Romel, for a medal and earn 1 million pesos as a gift. If they become champions, 500,000. I was just thinking that maybe that was the reason why the young people said, I might as well go into boxing or. And, by the way, I served in the Navy for 26 years, so I knew that even then they would rather go into physical sports than the mind games. Unfortunate, but that is how it is, and we have to deal with it. The future of Philippine Bridge is our youth. If we cannot do that, forget about it.
Okay, sir, isa na lang ho, and this may be like a suggestion. I don't know if you have a Facebook page for Philippine Bridge Association. Meron po ba?
Meron.
Meron. Okay.
Now that you mentioned it, by the way, I am an IT guy. In my other life, I was in information technology. And when I was preparing for this, in a way, looking at Googling all of these things, I realized that our page is not as I would like it to be. Now that you mentioned it, that will be a focus of my efforts in the next month or so. Of course, the first focus is how do we go through electing the new officers of the association?
Okay.
COVID
Yes, sir.
even kept us from the basic thing that is organizing us so that we can do what I just intimated earlier. So may mangyayari po, hopefully.
Okay.
Maybe the first thing is they will relieve me with a better president. Then I'm all along for it. But because the important thing is we do this for the love of the game. We do this for the love of the country. We do this for the sport. And I think it goes beyond me or ego or anything else. The goal should be Philippine sports, a medal for the country, make us proud.
Okay. Sir, if I may further suggest, no, baka ho pwedeng gamitin din nyo ang Facebook to promote the sport, no? Maybe put some or publish some items about bridge, the basic ones, and then maybe propagate it also, ask other associations or groups to like and follow your page, kasi marami hong di pa nakakaalam sa bridge, no? Even I myself hindi na rin ako familiar dun sa bridge.
Ron, that is an excellent idea. Offhand, now that you've suggested it, I think I will make it a challenge to the members of our association that came out of University of the Philippines. I think they would just love to do that as for the game.
Baka meron kayong
suggestion. I forgot about Facebook. We have a web page, but that's old technology. It's more like in social network. Either you tweet or you do a post on Facebook. We will do that one. Thank you.
Baka meron kayong slogan, a bridge not too far.
Actually, I think I've used that before.
Nagamit na ho yan.
Bridge too far because I watched that movie. You may not believe it, but I was old enough when that movie was shown. The bridge too far.
Ang idea ko kasi is
a bridge not too far, yeah?
A bridge not too far. Because yung movie, yung title ng movie is A Bridge Too Far, no? Pero sa inyo pwede yung sabing a bridge not too far.
Not too far nga. A bridge not too far.
Reachable, no?
You know, that could be our branding, if you will. You know, ilalim ng Philippine Bridge, a bridge.
Sa ilalim ng tulay.
The idea is having a gold medal for the Philippines may not be too far. So that's,
all right.
You know, the other one's literary, the other one's in actual gold. And we can challenge the youth for that one. And think 500,000 or 1 million. Or maybe they'll increase it in the next Congress.
All right.
Right? Gold medal is commissioner, about 1 million na ngayon. And 500,000. You know, that could be. If I were a young man, I would aim for that. I would try to do it. But okay, it's a deal, Ron. A bridge not too far. That gold.
Maraming salamat. Thank you, Sir Winston. And good luck. Thank you po.
Okay.
Okay, back to you sa ating mga kasama.
Thank you, Sir Ron, for those questions. Ang susunod nating magtatanong is Ivan Saldaheno, who is also celebrating his birthday.
Happy birthday, Ivan.
Wala, tama tayong birthday. Walang kamatayang birthday. Okay, so tuloy ako. Ayun. Good morning, everyone. And yeah, is Commissioner Ramon still around? I believe, yeah. Okay, so Sir Ramon, okay, I don't know if it was asked earlier, pero meron na ba kayong pang target number of golds for Team Pilipinas sa SEA Games?
Wala pa, Ivan. I will be meeting with President Bumble towards the end of the month, and they will have their General Assembly. So that's going to be our first meeting, and we'll draw up the plans there and see what are the sports. I-audit natin yung mga atleta na kasali doon, yung mga former medalists natin dyan. So later on na yan, maybe a month before the SEA Games mismo, we can more or less already gauge how our athletes will perform depending on the preparation that we will be able to do.
Pero personal preference, wala. Wala pa muna.
Ano yun?
Personal preference, like, personal preference, wala pa po. Personal
Sorry.
preference, wala. Personal preference kung ilang goods, wala pa.
Wala pa.
Okay. Thank you. So yun. So yun, the next question, I think hindi pa na ask earlier. Kasi I think you said 2 weeks ago na parang mayroon kayong mga NACs na kung di magbibigay ng like, liquidation or something, parang di bibigay ng allowance. So may naman na sampulan.
Humingi na a little bit of extension. I think our executive director, binigyan sila up to the 15th na magbigay ng liquidation report nila, ma-liquidate na nila. No? So we'll just wait for that, Ivan.
Thank you, Sir Ramon. Okay, so let's go to Sir Jeremy and kay Pot. Kasi yun nga, since staple yung go for gold sa Ronda, medyo nga, what happened recently, namatay yung isa sa mga founders, si Sir Mo. So, who was Sir Mo to you guys?
Siguro I'll go first. Si Mo, I only met him. I can't say that I've known Mo for a very long time. I only met him when we started going to the Ronda. I believe it was 2017. But he's always been supportive of us. I believed in his vision of growing cycling in the Philippines, and you could clearly see his passion for lalo na in supporting local cyclists and giving them a place to shine. I believe na yun nga, nag-push talaga siya for a big top prize for the Ronda in order to inspire mga athletes. Minention nga ni Sir Winston earlier na parang kung may malaking premyo, di ba, na-inspire yung mga bata. So, I believe now na because of what they've done sa Ronda for the past 10 years, maraming mga bata na gustong maging siklista. And then that is probably going to be his lasting legacy to Philippine cycling. And I hope na LBC and the people behind Ronda can continue the event. If not in 2021, at least sana in 2022, because sayang yun na gawa ni Sir Mo. And I believe it is really one of the big things that help promote cycling, lalo na sa kabataan natin.
How about si Potpos and si Ronnel? How about you? Who was Sir Mo to you?
Nakilala ko si Sir Mo sa Ronda Pilipinas. Tapos meron silang team noon, Team LBC. So doon naririnig ko na marami silang plano about sa cycling. So yun, sayang lang kasi marami siyang natulungan mga siklista, maraming mga naging siklista dahil sa kanya, dahil nga dun sa paghahawak niya sa Ronda. At tuwing na naririnig ko siya, marami siyang plano about sa cycling, sa Philippine team. Yun lang, medyo mabilis yung pagkawala niya. So sana meron din pumalit na kagaya niya na magpapatuloy ng mga gusto niyang plano para lang ma-improve yung cycling sa Pilipinas.
Thank you, guys. Balik tayo kay Sir Mo. It just popped up. Kasi yun nga, Sir Mo was the original team manager of the Pasig Blue Pirates. So, being the first MB commissioner, Sir Mon, who was Sir Mo to you?
Yeah, he was an honest to goodness sportsman. No, he may not have played the sport as an regularly or seriously. I've worked with him during the NBA days and even the United Basketball Regional League, the URBL. He got me also as a commissioner there. We were always together, no? I'd often go visit him in his house. And it's a loss, big loss actually, especially sa cycling, no? Napalaki niya yung Ronda Filipinas, no? So sayang. Well, but God has his own plans for him, so let it be that way. We just pray for him. We have an angel now in heaven to guide us, to help us.
Thank you very much, Sir Mon. Okay, I think I rest my case for now.
Okay, maraming salamat, Ivan Saldayano. Ilang taon ka na ba?
Turning 33 on April 24th. Okay, April 24th. Abangan nyo yan.
Sige. Okay. Sige. Anyway, ang susunod na magtatanong ay si Gerard Arce. Gerard?
Yun, good morning. Happy birthday uli, Ivan. Okay. Sir, good morning po. Good morning, Ernest. Sir Ramon, sa inyo na muna po yung question ko, sir. Regarding po sa ano. Kasi kanina regarding sa Inspire po. Tanong ko po ulit, sir, kung meron na po bang mga dumating na boxers or any athletes from provinces? Ano pong process nun? Kung diretso po ba sila sa Inspire o ilalagay mo na sila sa isang hotel or something else? Somewhere else.
Yes, most of them right now ay nagpa-PCR na, and the moment they reach Manila, for those coming from the provinces, ang plan is to bring them straight to Calamba, to the Inspire Sports Academy. Yung mga atleta naman na nasa Luzon, well, everybody has been advised to quarantine themselves, really, no? Just concentrate on their training on their own right now. So when the athletes from Luzon will come, they will go to the baseball stadium, and from there they will be brought to the Inspire Sports Academy, where they will have a new PCR testing also before they go in. I haven't heard yet of athletes coming in, but they're all preparing. I'm pretty sure most of them are already in Metro Manila, but they're just waiting for the go signal from our staff sa PSC in charge of bringing the athletes to Calamba.
Yes, sir. Sir, ano po, next question po. Sa Olympics naman po, kamusta po yung mga ibang athletes natin? Kasi kung sa yung tatlong sports po natin, boxing, taekwondo, tsaka karate, sa Inspire, kamusta naman po yung iba na Olympic hopefuls natin? Meron na po ba silang, may inilaan ba sa kanila or meron na ba silang na-approve na mga bubble setup, sir? Meron na po bang balita doon?
Yes, they are continually training. The other NSAs rather have opted to do their own bubble in their venues, no? So they're okay. They are being monitored also, and they are giving us regular reports on their training and preparation.
Yes, sir. Sir, follow-up question na sa SEA Games. Anong ano yan, sir? Nga pala, sir, congrats and good luck dun sa pagkakatalaga ninyo.
I need a lot.
Congrats sa Yan po. Then, dun sir sa SEA Games, sa tingin nyo sir, anong chances natin dun sir? Sabi nyo kanina third place. Mga ilang medals sa kayo personally, sabi nga nyo kanina, wala pa kayong napag-uusapan ni Combambol. Pero sa inyo sir, sa tingin nyo sir, ito bang chance natin sa Vietnam? Makukuha ba natin yung third or malabo? Giving na meron tayong pandemic na nangyayari ba sir?
It would really depend, Gerard, the way we will be able to prepare our athletes. No, if we have the budget for that and we are able to prepare them the proper way, the right way, I would say that we will be really be competitive. No, considering the number of medalists we had in the last SEA Games, those guys are still really very competitive. Still, no. So it's just a matter really of training them again, getting them back into 100% in shape for the competitions. No, yun lang talaga ang limitations natin. So we're hoping. I still don't have any idea on as far as medal haul is concerned, but as I said, we might be able to do that a month before the SEA Games itself. What we are really more concentrated on is how we are going to prepare our athletes, which is the key.
Thank you sir. Later na lang po. Sir Ernest, thank you po.
Okay, maraming salamat Gerard. Akin, ang susunod po magtatanong, Sir Vince Wico. Sir Vince, kayo po? Pwede na po kayo magtanong.
Morning. My question is for Commissioner Fernandez. Commissioner, good morning and congratulations on your appointment as head of our mission to the Southeast Asian Games.
Thank you.
My question is, Commissioner, is your duties and responsibilities as head of mission, does that start the moment you're appointed, or does that start when the SEA Games come upon us in November? And another question, Commissioner, there will be, I don't know, your opinion may be different, but since you'll be the head of the mission, it may be, especially now that there's a pandemic, there's an outbreak, added work as a head of mission, since you will have to oversee the health and well-being of our athletes to make sure they're not infected. And sir, you yourself make sure that personally, you, God forbid, you don't fall ill before the SEA Games. So what are your immediate plans as head of mission from now until November to make sure our athletes don't fall ill, or God forbid, they don't get infected? And you personally, what are your plans to protect yourself, since you need to stay healthy from now until the end of the SEA Games?
Well, number one, yan munang health protection. We'll just have to continue conferring like this for the time being na walang bakuna, Vince, no? Yeah, it will start right away. The responsibility will start right away. In fact, we've scheduled, President Bumble have scheduled a meeting towards the end of the month. During the POC, there is going to be POC General Assembly by the end of the month. So I'll be flying to Manila next week, no, and start meeting and pencil pushing on our plans, no. We will form a team, definitely. Basically, it will be just like what Chairman Ramirez did in the last SEA Games, no, form a team, and I'm pretty sure we have lahat naman yung ngayon na tumulong sa SEA Games 19 will all be there pa rin, just waiting to be tapped, no. Ang concern lang talaga is getting back to the normal way of training our athletes, Vince, no. There's not much changes that we have to do. Ang madagdag lang is how to fight the pandemic also, which is hard considering na wala pang bakuna. That's why we're hoping na dumating yung bakuna para ma-lessen yung pressure sa atin at sa preparation sa mga atleta.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay, thank you Sir Vince. Ito na, mga follow-up questions na po tayo. Ang mauuna si Miss Cara Malyonga. Cara, your mic. Yung mic mo, Cara. Hello.
Ayan. Yan, do you hear me now? Okay na. Sorry. Common. Yan. So congratulations for being the CDM. And I'm very happy that our CDM for the Vietnam SEA Games is a former athlete. So at least you know the pain and you also know how to develop the athlete in a way that athletes can only appreciate. Common, my question is, as you've said a while ago, a big part of the training and also in putting our athletes to a higher level of training po or in sports is yung ating competition. Considering that we cannot hire currently with what's happening, yung mga ating international coaches or international training partners, do we currently have a movement to request for IATF to consider or to give the special provision for sports in terms of acquiring yung mga international training partners or coaches for entry to the Philippines? Following na po yung ating mga suggested protocols by DOH and IATF.
Yes, we have renewed our coaches, our international foreign coaches, as far as the Olympic qualifiers are concerned, Cara, no? They are there still helping our athletes. Wala namang problema doon kila Heidelin, kila Obiena, Yulo, Yumer, Marshall will be coming back soon. We are still trying to see and work with the NSAs as far as their requirement for foreign coaches. In the other sports that are still going to qualify, looking to qualify for the Olympics, kaya naman ng mga Filipino coaches na natin yon. They have had experience already, no? So let's talk first about the Olympics at saka na natin isipin yung SEA Games after the Olympics. No, but we do have still foreign coaches for the other sports that are competing in the Olympics. No? And in fact, some of them will be coming back already, no, to join the bubble as far as karate is concerned. No?
Thank you very much po, Sir Mon.
Okay.
Welcome.
Thank you very much, Cara, for that follow-up question. Ang susunod po natin, si Sir Dennis Eroa. Sir Dennis, nawala. Si Dennis Eroa. Iniwan yung upuan. But anyway, dito tayo sa bagong lolo, no? Si Lolo Brian. Ay, eto na si Sir Dennis Eroa. Sir Dennis, sino ba mauna? Si ikaw o si Brian? Sir Dennis. Sir Dennis.
No. Kung mauna muna yung lolo bilang paggalang sa matanda. No, you know, I think all the questions kay Commissioner to, all the questions about the SEA Games na-touch na, no? And I just want to fulfill lang yung, shall I say, curiosity ko na itatanong ko kay Commissioner Mon kasi he's a collegiate star, he's a veteran internationalist, he's a multi-awarded professional player, and now a sports leader. Sir, what ails Philippine basketball ba talaga? Bakit tayo naiwan ng ating mga Asian neighbors na lang? Sa inyong karanasan, Ano ba talagang dapat gawin? Because lahat ginawa na eh. Kumuha na tayo nag-naturalize na tayo ng mga players. But still we lag behind kumpara sa ibang mga bansa dito sa Asia, not the Southeast Asia. Sa inyong karanasan, ano sa tingin nyo ba ang problema ng Philippine basketball?
Number one, Dennis, if you look at our history sa basketball, from the 50s na lang, 50s, 60s, and maybe even up to mid part of the 70s. No, especially in the 50s and the 60s, dito sa Asia or even some parts of the world, hindi sila naglalaro naman talaga ng basketball eh. They were into other sports, no, soccer and other sports, especially here in Asia. Tayo lang naman talaga sa Asia, maybe Japan, Korea, Taiwan before. The rest, Hong Kong, they were already into it. But ngayon, marami na naglalaro, Dennis, no? Ever since na-televised worldwide na yung NBA, a lot of people, a lot of kids took up the sport. And matagal na, several decades, ngayon lang 2000, tayo nagkaroon ng mga malalaking atleta eh, no? Yung height is might talaga in basketball, no? So, yun ang isang biggest factor talaga doon. Maliliit tayo, but at least now meron na tayong mga batang matatangkad, nasa 7-footers na tayo, 6'7", 6'8", 6'10", no? So, again, mahirap i-pinpoint, no? I would still like to believe kulang sa grassroots. Ang grassroots hindi masyado dahil famous ang basketball, popular ang basketball, natural nilalaro natin yung mga Pilipino. May mga school leagues lang tayo ano. Ngayon pa lang nag-i-improve yung mga coaching techniques natin, no? Coaching know-how. Kumukuha na ng seminars abroad yung karamihan, no? Again, I would say na maraming countries na naglalaro, Dennis, no? And wala naman tayong, hindi naman tayo lang ang gifted athletically as far as basketball is concerned, no? So, very competitive na talaga. That's why I've always believed that we should first concentrate on the Asian scene, no? At the Asian scene pa nga, mahirap nang kunin back yung number 1 position natin with the PROC there. Mahirap dahil napakalalaki din nila ng mga players, no? The very first time that we went to the People's Republic of China to open up a diplomatic relationship with them way back in 1974, naglaro kami doon. Hindi na namin matalo in every game, no? Kung lalaroin namin sila 10 beses, ang feeling ko that time, baka pwede tayong manalo 3 beses siguro, no? Sheer height, malalaki talaga, malayo tayo. Especially during our time, kami ni Naning Mariano at ni Big Boy, ako, I was 6'4", Naning was 6'4", Big Boy was 6'2". When we played in the World Basketball Championships in Puerto Rico, ang pinakamaliit na ginagwardyahan namin 6'10", 6'11", 7, mga ganyan, 6'10 ang pinakamaliit. So, ang point guards natin, sila Yoyong Martinez. Ang kalaban, nasa 6'2", 6'3 na. So, there's really no way. Disadvantage tayo. That's why, pagpasok ko nga sa PFC, kung pinapapili ako ng priority sports na gusto namin gawin, gusto kong gawin, medyo isinatabi ko na yung basketball, no? I was hoping I would rather concentrate on the individual weight category Olympic sports where I feel we have better chances as far as performing well in the international competitions. But also, hindi naman talaga main mandate ng PSC to win that gold in the Olympics. Hindi yan ang main mandate ng PSC. It's more of the national program, grassroots program, no? Keeping the citizenry healthy by allowing them to play sports, draw up a sports program. As far as elite athletes is concerned, that's really the main responsibility of the NSAs, no? But the government is also helping them there. So yun, Dennis, no? And several other factors, but mainly because of our height. As far as skills is concerned, we are at par with the best in the world. In the late 60s nga, there was 1 or 2 years merong liga na 6 feet and below. I don't know if you were aware already at the time or naka-short pants ka pa kaya noon. So, yeah, height really is the big factor there, no? And as I said, almost all countries are playing the game already. So yung competition tumaas, dumami.
If I may add, so, Commissioner, actually yung sinabi mo kanina, ang programa talaga ng PSA is sports for all, ano? Sports for all. Yun ang
correct. Grassroots, no? Being the feeder for the National Sports Association.
Thank you, Ernest. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Sir Dennis. May follow-up question po dito. So from ito si Gerard Arce.
Hello, sir. Apo. Sir, follow-up lang po. Kasi nakausap ko si Sir Alvin Aguilar. Nagpasa na daw sila, sir, ng requirements nila sa PSC. Pero up to now daw po, hindi pa sila pinapayagan magkaroon o hindi pa na-approve yung kanilang request na training venue sa Parañaque. Parang wala pa rin daw nangyari kasi mayroon yata silang Olympic hopefuls din na gustong mag-compete. Yun, sir. Ano po bang natin dun, ang mga concern natin sa regarding dun sa mga hindi pa na approve na sports? Kasi puro inspire lang tayo ang napag-uusapan about po dun sa ibang sports kasi parang wala pa raw development.
Teka, nawala na.
Ayan. Am I back?
Ayan.
Nawala po. Ayan.
Okay na, sir.
Nawala bigla.
Oo nga, sir. Kala ko bigla nawala.
Natakot sa question ni Gerard. Anyway, yeah. Alam ko nga, ang preference nila, Alvin, doon sa gym nila sila mag-training, no? I'm not familiar with their concerns. I'll have to check with our training director, si Mark Velasco, as far as their IATF approvals for their bubble doon sa area nila, no? So I will check on that, Gerard. But all the other sports naman, like canoe-kayak, yung mga nasa La Mesa Dam, they are continually training naman, ano? So thank you for that information. I will check on them.
Ayun. Sir, follow-up din question po, sir, regarding sa international competitions. Kasi nga, sir, di ba, yung Baseball World Cup, ng women's team nila, magkukumpit sana sa March. Kaso wala pa pong ang IF. Sir, regarding po sa mga international competition natin, wala pa kasing vaccine pero may papayagan ba tayo if ever na hindi kasama dun sa mga list ng government na na-lockdown natin?
Yeah, as long as the countries that these tournaments are held are open, makapunta yung mga atleta natin, ipapadala natin, no? Ang makakapigil lang naman talaga, giving us a hard problem, is the travel going to those countries, no? Otherwise, wala sanang problema. I am for it. We are for it. The whole PSC leadership is for the athletes training, joining competitions abroad. So it's really our problem with the pandemic now that's hindering us.
Last question, sir, regarding sa budget, sir. Kasi wala na po yung Asian Beach Games tapos nausog din yung IMAG. Paano po yung budget dun, sir? Na mga nakatoka dun sa budget na yun? may kasama pa rin ba siya ngayong taon na to? Kasi next year, panibagong budget na naman yan, panigurado eh. So ngayong taon po ba may isasama yan pambili ng vaccine or pang SEA Games or other competitions like Olympics din po? Yun po.
Palagay ko, sa tingin ko, personally, I think yung mga budget noon, we wrote already DBM, no, concerning that, because ang priority talaga ni Presidente ngayon is mabigyan ng bakuna lahat ng mga kababayan natin. So I guess yung budget na nakalaan doon sa mga sports na yun na nakansila, na postpone for next year, ay mapupunta yan sa pagbili ng bakuna natin para sa mga kababayan natin. So that's another concern that we have. So we really just have to scratch, to find this budget in preparation for yung matutuloy na tournaments this year. You must be aware also, I'm sure you're all aware, sa nangyayari sa Tokyo. Mukhang 80% na yata sa mga taga-Tokyo ayaw nila maituloy or i-postpone yung Olympics again, no? So until it opens, we can never really be sure depending on sa infection rate ng new viruses, mga strain ng virus ngayon. So all we can really do, Gerard, is to prepare our athletes just in case matuloy, we are ready for it.
Last question, sir. Last question. Final question po. Sir, kamusta po yung moral ng mga athletes natin? Kasi knowing na alam nila may tournament silang sasalihan ngayon, yung beach games, tas yung IMAG, tapos parang nagdedelikado pa tong sa Olympics. Kamusta po yung natin, yung mga athletes natin, yung kanilang mental Kasi nagwo-worry na sila, wala pa rin silang tournaments na nasasalihan eh. Hindi ba bumababa yung moral nila or ano po, sir?
Basing it on our talks with them, our conversations with them, they are in very high spirits naman. No? They are keeping themselves fit, 100% physically fit, just in time for the opening really of the normal training nila. No? They're all very excited, especially those that are going to the bubble, and even those guys who are doing their training somewhere else. No? So wala namang problema palagay doon. Ready naman yung mga atleta natin. Nakikita naman nila na 100% talaga ang support ng gobyerno sa kanila. No? Normal na yung support sa kanila, their allowances. Sayang lang nawala yung billeting nila in Rizal Memorial and Baguio and PhilSports, no? Dahil doon meron tayong mga canteens para sa nutrition nila, no? The 3 canteens there are run by nutritionists, no? And the doctors. We have a team of we have a medical team, Gerard, that takes care of all their medical, physical needs. No, we have physiologists, nutritionists, psychologists, for that matter, trainers, masseurs, and all that. No, so kompleto ang suporta sa kanila. Ang nakaka-handle lang naman talaga ay yung pandemic. But we're hoping makaka-recover pa rin naman sila.
Magtatanong pa saan. Pwede pa po magtanong, Sir Ernest? Last one. Kay Sir Ramon pa rin. Sir, sa tingin nyo, sir, ano ba yung natin na sports? Ano yung, sa tingin yung malaki yung chance natin on winning medal sa Olympics tsaka sa SEA Games? Sa tingin yung kailangan i-priority na natin dapat ngayon at buuin yung magandang grassroots?
Sa Olympics muna, Gerard, I think still I'm looking at boxing. I'm looking at Yumer Marcial, no? And of course, there's Yolo, Those are the top, and the third would be Heidelin. She has proven herself. I hope she can perform well on the higher weight category that she's in right now. I think nasa 55 kilograms na siya, no? From 53. Of course, andyan mga long shots yan. Andyan sila Obiena, well, judo, golf natin, nandiyan dyan. And several other, sa taekwondo, we have 2 or 3 athletes that have chances also. But first, they really have to qualify. And of course, karate, we have 3 ladies, 3 women athletes there, and 3 male athletes also. 1 female athlete sa karate that I'm hoping would really perform very well is number 1, si Joanne Orbon. She used to be with the US team before she transferred to us a little over a year ago. She has been Pan-Pacific champion several times. And there's Juna Chuki also. Mahirap lang yung category niya ngayon because she was playing in the 51 kilograms category. But I learned that ang ginawa ng IOC, pinagsama yung 55 and 51, no? One category na lang yon. So medyo may kabigatan yung ano niya. And of course, there's Jamie Lim. We can never underestimate her performances. Coming back just 6 months before the SEA Games, nakuha niya yung gold sa SEA Games. No? So it's the fighting spirit of our athletes that will really push them to achieve their goals, Gerard. No?
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Boss Ernest. Salamat po sa lahat.
Thank you, Gerard. Last question na po tayo kay Sir Vince Wico.
Okay, para kay Commissioner yung tanong ko. Commissioner, you've been around the game of basketball for a very long time. What are your thoughts on the dying breed na yung mga big men na they no longer play with their back to the basket but more of shooting 3-point shots, driving to the basket, facing up. Yung mga big men na who play with their back to the basket, dying breed na ba sila? And why do you think ganyan yung nangyari?
Well, frankly, Vince, I really haven't been following basketball ever since I retired more than 20 years ago. 94 to be exact. Yeah, but maybe most of them doesn't play anymore in the keyhole area, but they have added to their skills the 3-point shooting, no, which is good, no. What is really more important also is they can play outside and inside, no. There are situations when you need a much-needed basket, no, that you can go inside. You don't have to attempt from the 3-point area, considering that when you're there inside, you'll have a higher percentage of making your shots, no? So I don't know, that's has become the trend, but for me, that's an added weapon for them, no? For the big guys.
Second and last question, Commissioner. The organizing committee in Vietnam has removed a few sports or several sports that were in the last SEA Games that we hosted. As head of mission, is it part of your also duties and responsibilities to coordinate with our NSAs and perhaps start a conversation with the organizing committee in Vietnam and talk to them and convince or appeal to them for everyone to get a fair shake this coming SEA Games?
I don't know if it's not too late to do that now, Vince, but Kong Bumble and POC leadership have tried their best, no, in putting in the other sports needed. But basically, that's the responsibility of the NOC, no? Not really more on the CDM, but more of the NOC. Kong Bumble have tried to do that, and I hope he still is continuing to do that. Yeah, just like what you said, maraming medal haul natin na sa sports na wala na doon. No? Typical example is yung arnis. I think we had about 14 or 16 gold medals in the different events of arnis and several other sports. Skateboarding, wala din doon. No? So I'm not too sure if it's too late for the day to add more sports for that.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you for your time.
Welcome.
And thank you, Sir Vince, and to have our closing remarks na rin, Sir Ed Andaya.
Thank you, Ernest. No? Parang basketball game lang tayo ngayon ni Kong Fernandez. Overtime tayo. No? Before yung weekly group photo natin with our guests, maybe we can ask them for their closing remarks. No? Ronnel, your closing remarks, please.
Thank you sa pag-invite dito. At least nasabi din namin yung mga problema namin, yung mga dapat na gagawin sa training at syempre thank you na rin sa sponsor kay Sir Jeremy Go sa bumubuo ng Powerball. Yun lang. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sir Winston. Salamat po ulit sa pagdalo ngayong araw. No? Your closing remarks, please.
Okay, thank you so much for having Philippine Bridge as a guest of this Top Sports program. Thank you, Ron, for those suggestions, the questions and the suggestions. I already checked you out in social network. I already know where you live, in Messenger, in chat group and Viber. So I only hope that when you also visit the Facebook page of PTBA. Finally, I was hoping that I had a chance to ask the commissioner himself, because perhaps you do not know that in spite of the fact that bridge is included as a sports in the Asian Games and the Olympics, it is not, I repeat, not included in the SIAG in Vietnam. I was hoping that the host country will push for the inclusion of bridge. That would be, but I was just told in my due diligence, it's always Indonesia that leads the charge in the inclusion of sports in the SIAG in the past. I only hope that if and when there is a push for the inclusion of bridge in this SIAG, Mr. Commissioner, I hope you would not object. That said, again, maraming salamat po for giving bridge a chance to be with Top Sports. Maraming salamat.
Thank you, Sir Winston. Sir Jeremy, kayo naman po.
Thank you, Ed, and sa Tops for inviting us again on your wonderful program. It's always fun and enlightening to chat with the members of the media, and at the same time to learn new things, lalo na I think ngayon first time ko lang na learn about the Philippine Bridge, which is a very interesting sport, and I hope na they grow from strength to strength. And of course, congratulations to Commissioner Ramon Fernandez for his appointment as CDM, and on behalf of yun Go for Gold and yun team namin, we will pledge to do our best in what we can to help support yun goal nating lahat of getting more gold medals for the Philippines.
Okay, thank you Sir Jeremy. Commissioner Mon, salamat po ulit sa mga nasagot yung tanong at good luck sa pagiging chef de mission sa darating na SEA Games.
Yes, Ed, and the TAPS leadership, thank you for having me again today. Thank you very much for the opportunity to talk to our people. I'd like just to commend Ronnel, Jeremy, and of course Mr. Arpon for their involvement in sports. No, we all have the same para sa ating atletang Pilipino. No, we have the same vision for them, and thank you for your support. No, especially Jeremy sa mga ginagawa ninyong. We hope a lot more others from the private sector would really try to help our athletes, no, support them in their journey to become the best athletes possible in their chosen sports. No? And Mr. Arpon, don't worry, I've noted that. If I remember right, Mr. Arpon, more than a year or two ago, I think it was during the Asian Games. I think we supported Brids. I remember distinctly that we discussed that in our board meeting. And kami naman sa board ngayon, lahat ng sports na kasali sa tournament, sinusuportahan namin in whatever way we can, no? Whatever available budget we can spare, no? Wala namang kaming hindi sinuportahan. As far as I know, sinuportahan namin lahat yung mga humingi. No? But yeah, ang problema lang kasi nga, kagaya lalo na itong sa SEA Games, may mga sport na hindi makakasali depende sa mga hosts nila. No? Mabuti na lang sa at least sa Asian Games, hindi ganon ka daming nawawalang mga sports. No? Most sports are still there. Pag nakalaro ka na sa Asian Games, probability is nandun ka na lagi. But don't worry, sir. You have my support. You have our support. In the next tournaments, we will be really supporting everybody. No, yun lang. Lagi kong sinasabi. Number one, talagang problema natin is budget for sports. No, that's why on my own personal capacity. As a private citizen, inorganize ko yung atletang Pilipino, no? So that later on, when I am out of the PSC, I still would be able, as a private person, work for my advocacy for the betterment of the Filipino athlete. No? So we have to work hand in hand together, especially during these times, no? Dami nating problema, itong pandemic talaga ang letse ng buhay natin ngayon. Excuse the language. But yes, for as long as we're still there, we will try to accommodate really everybody. That's being noted, Mr. Arpon. Magandang hapon. Maraming salamat sa inyo lahat.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. Again, on behalf of the officers and members of the Tabloids Organization in Philippine Sports, and our partners, the Philippine Sports Commission, the Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corporation, and the Games and Amusements Board. Magpapasalamat kami sa lahat ng mga naging panauhin natin ngayong umaga at muli ay ini-invite namin kayo na samahan kami sa susunod na edition ng ating TAPS Usapang Sports on Air. Ernest, malapit tayong kasamang mga photographers para sa ating group photo.
Pakigising si Sir Arman. Okay, sige. Anyway, magana na po tayo. Group photo na po tayo. So everyone, please turn on their cameras and we will say your biggest show your biggest smiles, by the way. And in 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you very much at maraming salamat po sa mga ating mapapanauhin, sa mga sumubaybay sa ating Facebook page as well. For those who haven't liked our page yet, please do. And abangan nyo po ang mga susunod namin mga panauhin sa Tops Usapang Sports. Next week, i-like nyo po yung page para malaman nyo po yun. No? But anyway, iiwan namin kayo ng the same message that we always say every week dito sa Tops Usapang Sport na napaka-importante sa panahon ngayon is stay safe and God bless.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you.